With the Oscars quickly approaching, today we're ranking all 10 of the Best Picture nominations from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name's Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Leave your list down below. How would you rank all 10 of the Best Picture nominations? Have you seen them all? Were there any surprises or disappointments for these nominations? Because certainly there were a couple that I was shocked to see nominated in the first place, and there were very clear choices of films that were going to be nominated. I'll give my Best Picture prediction at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Coming in last place is Triangle of Sadness. This was actually the one film that I was surprised was nominated in the first place. It's not like it's a bad film by any means. Technically, it's a really good looking film. And the messages in here surrounding the rich are very strong within here. And they do go for a lot of shock value within here. All of the throwing up. I heard about it going into the film, but I was surprised with how much it was in the film. And so moments like that are going for that pure chaos within here. It definitely delivers on some of those more entertaining moments. I don't find it as funny as other people do. People regard this as one of the funniest films of this year. I didn't get that sense for this movie. Like I said, it's technically a really good looking film. The direction, the setting for it is truly amazing. It warranted a Best Director for this movie, but I just wasn't as invested as other movies on this list. It is the one that I was happy that it was over, and I really don't see myself revisiting again. We spend a lot of time setting up some of these characters in the beginning of the film, and then we kind of just forget about them throughout the movie as we kind of start to venture into more of that chaos and then throwing up left and right and having some more focus on its message, that it forgets some of the initial setup for the film. But Triangle of Sadness, it's entertaining at times, but one I'm not truly invested in and connected to. Coming in ninth place is Women Talking. This has some of the best dialogue amongst the 10 films this year. How slow it is at times is really able to get an understanding of the situation these women are in. And they have these conversations, this debate about do they stay where they are at and fight, or do they leave? And looking at the pros and cons and the conversations amongst all of that and the situation that they're in, it's really heavy. And the performances are really good in here. From Claire Foy to Rooney Mara, everybody gives a really outstanding performance, and you see the true emotions that they have, and the raw performances really add to the situation that they are in and that dialogue. It does move a bit slow at times, and I do understand they have that dialogue within here. They have to have these real conversations and really spread it out throughout the film. But there are really good performances. The direction is really tight, and that dialogue is at its best in this film. This is the best thing that's working for it, is the dialogue with the acting as well. So there's a lot of great things within this film. Coming in eighth place is Tar. Tar is a pure character study. The amount of time dedicated to Cate Blanchett and the development for this character is worth its nomination and worth her nomination for Best Actress as well. It is a long film, and I definitely felt that. There were moments at times where it was testing its runtime, and I think they really could have cut back on certain scenes. But when you look at this film as a whole, it's a character study, and Cate Blanchett gives one of her best performances, and I could easily see her winning Best Actress at the Academy Awards. Like I said, it's just a film that runs a little bit too long, and I lose interest multiple times in the film. I like this character. I like this story. I like how much time is dedicated to certain scenes and really spreading them out, and really feel like you are there watching everything play out in front of you. Limited edits within those scenes to really make you feel invested in those moments. This is the film I wouldn't want to rewatch immediately, but it is a great film. Coming in 7th place is Elvis. I'm torn between Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser for Best Actor because they both give really good performances. But Austin Butler embodies Elvis in this film. And there are some things that Baz Luhrmann does in here that really do work. And then there are some moments that I do really question, mostly coming from the narration of Tom Hanks and so much focus on that character. And then cramming 40 years into this film. And at times, they briefly go over certain things and, they dedicate a lot of time to other things. I wish they would have focused on some other elements of Elvis Presley's life and a little less of other things. But that's what you get with a biopic of such a big figure in history and trying to cram it into a movie. This would have really worked as a show, 8 episodes or something like that, and really kind of just really focus on certain parts of his life. But the way that this film looks and the musical elements to it, and Austin Butler, it has such an electrifying feel to it. It moves very quickly. It's able to hit some big moments within his life, but Austin Butler definitely carries this film. If Austin Butler wasn't as good in this film as he was, I don't think this film would have been nominated. Even though Baz Luhrmann's direction is beautiful and vibrant, Austin Butler is the greatest thing about this movie. Coming in 6th place is The Fabelmans. Steven Spielberg's love letter to cinema and his time growing up is a really good film. Not the best Spielberg film that I have seen, but this film relies solely on relationships and growing up, how this young boy was affected by his parents' relationship and how it kind of shaped him who he was. And he found an outlet during all of what was going on in his young life and going through all of this relationships issues. He wanted to make films, and you really do understand like that motivation and the love for this young kid to make these short films, and that discussion on cinema and going after your dreams is pure in here, and it really does work alongside some really great acting with Michelle Williams, Paul Dano, even Seth Rogen. The performances are really good and add a lot to the film and what this young boy is going through. It's a beautiful looking film. It feels like a classic Steven Spielberg film. I love the discussion of cinema and going after your dreams in here. It all plays out very nicely in this film. Coming in 5th place is All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a brutal, honest, realistic war film as we see these young characters in the beginning very eager to join the war. And then the hardships and everything they go throughout the film really test these characters. And All Quiet on the Western Front does not hold back at all. It is not a polished war film. It's not trying to be something that it's not fake at all. I felt everything within this film, from the brutal kills to the emotions from these characters. Everything about All Quiet on the Western Front felt real. And looking at what all these characters went through, the change of these characters throughout the film, the toll of this war that it took on them, you felt that. Every scene just built on top of each other to come to a very emotional finale of the film. There were several moments in here, my mouth was open. I was completely shocked with what I was seeing. And that's what war films have to do. They're being honest. They're not trying to be fake at all. They're trying to tell a story that actually happened and be as brutal and honest as possible. And All Quiet on the Western Front succeeded just on that. Coming in 4th place is The Banshees of Inisherin. This is This is a really interesting film. I didn't know what this film was about going into it. I just knew it had Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and the buzz surrounding it was pretty positive. I didn't know exactly what it was about, and I came out of this film really perplexed and really loving what it offered. Because you look at this relationship, at times the discussion of these two friends and how they are really good friends was very solid. And then this very odd turn for Brendan Gleeson's character and his threats to Colin Farrell, just wanting to be left alone. And if he doesn't leave him alone, he's going to hurt himself. And Colin Farrell's just completely shocked. And I think that's the way that they played that is very smart. We are right there with him, thinking about what is going on, what is happening, and we want to kind of get these answers. So we're just as confused as Colin Farrell is in the film, and that really keeps your interest throughout. It's funny at times, but it is absolutely beautiful to look at. The landscapes, the small town that they are in, the cinematography and the direction is top notch in here. But the performances are also really good. Colin Farrell had a great 2022 with the Batman and Banshees of Inisherin, and after Yang, he had an amazing year. But Banshees of Inisherin was quirky at times, but I love looking at this relationship and the fall of it as well, and then kind of building these characters back up. It's an odd story, but you're able to really understand these characters and what they are going through and how this one decision affected a lot of people within here. But also the minor characters in here also give some really good performances. Carrie Condon with her Best Supporting Actress nominations, very deserving. There's a lot of great things about Banshees of Inisherin and the way it's able to tell its story. Coming in third place is Avatar: The Way of Water. When I first saw this film, I would have had it maybe sitting at like 6th place. After seeing it a second time, it sits perfectly at number 3 for me. This is an epic film. James Cameron once again creates visually one of the best films I ever seen. There are so many small moments in here that are truly astounding, and what James Cameron was able to do with technology in this film is mind-blowing. And Avatar: The Way of Water once again captures a really interesting story. As simple at times, but is really able to bring out the themes of family and power within here to tell a story that feels like it is developing throughout, and you're really focused on the world set within The Way of Water and exploring new elements and new characters, new relationships. It feels like it's not the same thing from that first film. Even after waiting for so long with this movie, you're getting new elements in here to make it feel fresh. There are so many action-packed sequences. The end, like hours, just straight non-stop action. It is thrilling, but also there are some more smaller, tender moments with some of the characters. Looking at, like I said, the relationships that are built and coming to like a common understanding that works within here. Cameron once again has one of the biggest films ever with the Avatar: Way of Water. I don't know, I thought maybe it wouldn't do as well as Avatar did, and it's not going to pass Avatar, but also was surprised with how much money it did make. Visually, it's a stunning film. Story-wise, it's much better than that first film. It just works and it flows better. There's more emotion to it, and it's one of the best films of 2022. Coming in second place is Top Gun Maverick. This is also a film that I didn't expect to be as good as it was. When you have these sequels that come out so many years later to popular films, they just don't work. But Top Gun Maverick is better than Top Gun for me. And I'm not the biggest fan of Top Gun. So going into Top Gun Maverick, I just wasn't that, I guess, excited for it. But it is a great film. This is probably one of the most popular films of last year, besides Avatar, The Way of Water, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. But Tom Cruise gives a really good performance. You're really able to see the years that have passed for this character, and you're really able to just quickly play catch up with this character, and looking at some of the relationships within the film. This has some of the best direction for the year and some of the best cinematography and editing as well. There are so many thrilling sequences, especially coming at the end with Miles Teller and Tom Cruise. That relationship is built up perfectly throughout the film and connecting it to the first film. This film pays tribute to that first film while trying to do its own thing and build off of that first film. I love how this film felt more mature than that first film. The first film was fun and mature, but you felt the age of this character and how mature this movie was, and looking at that first film and how the characters and relationships are affecting its sequel. But coming in first place is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I didn't see this film till like September, and I think it was released in March. And every few weeks I heard about this film. You need to see it. Why haven't you seen it yet? It's one of the best films of the last decade, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, let's check it out. And I was pleasantly surprised with this film. It embraced its quirky moments and gave some of the best performances of this decade. And it's just an odd film that just feels so loved. To some of the well-filmed action scenes, there's a lot in here, mixing very different genres. At times, it's covering some like romantic scenes, and at times, it's very emotional, looking at the relationships between mother and daughter. At times, it's action-packed and very heavy on sci-fi elements as well. It has so much to do, but it perfectly balances these different genres without trying to overpower one or feel like one is very weak. It's so odd and embraces those quirky moments in here, but also I was surprised with the more emotional touch to it as you get to understand the vibe with this film and the characters, and then building us up to eventually the end of it all was very emotional, and I wasn't expecting that within this film because of the way that it was set up, having the characters trying to come to an understanding of what was going on in this world, but then also trying to juggle moments that were set up in the beginning and not forgetting the initial buildup of this movie, the relationships in here, and then exploring that throughout the film and not forgetting it. It would have been as impactful as it was if it didn't have that nice development throughout. This is the film that I do think will win Best Picture. I also think it will win Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director. I think this will be a huge film at the Oscars. This is a film that a lot of people love. A lot of people have it at the top of their list, and it's one of my favorite films of 2022. I haven't seen a film in a while that was number one for the nominations that actually won Best Picture. It's gonna be cool to see if this film wins Best Picture, and I also have it at number one. This is the easy pick for me for the number one film. It's been a film since I saw it in, I think, like September during the award season that I felt something for, and I wish I would have saw it in March so I would be able to have that discussion with everybody throughout the summer. But when I saw it, it was a great time. I remember it vividly, and the relationships, the action scenes, everything about it was mind-blowing, epic, just the best thing possible. So there you guys have it, all 10 Best Picture nominations ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming ranking videos like this. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.